What's up, guys? It is that time of year again. The release of my official tier list for the current patch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The last time we did this was for 9.0. We did a 5-part series, and you bet we're going to do the exact same thing again. Breaking it off into a bottom tier, low tier, mid tier, high tier, and top tier series to give a pure breakdown on when I think every character is located on the current tier list. Now, with 11.0, Pirate and Mythra just came out with a lot of balance and gameplay adjustments and tweaks. So I really want to go into detail and show you why I think each character is where they are. So without further ado, let me remind you that this includes everything up to the 11.0.1 update, which includes the reverted Wii Fit buff and the Pirate Mythra updates. And of course, some characters have shifted their position on the tier list due to balance and meta changes. Reminder to everyone, this is an overall tier list. It considers, character tournament viability, ideally in an offline setting, but has a lot of consideration from things we've learned the past year, considering we've been playing only online. So that being said, let's get into it. This is going to be our bottom and low tier characters. And remember, characters in these tiers are not ordered. So let's start off with our bottom tier characters. These are by far the worst characters in the game by a bit of a margin as well. They can cause some rare upsets every once in a while, but it's safe to say it will almost never happen at a level of higher play nowadays. I mean, online maybe, but these are very bad characters. Very bad characters indeed. Our first character on the list is going to be Ganondorf. Ganondorf is a bottom tier character. He was buffed slightly in patch 11.0. I mean, slightly or not, his up B has reduced vulnerability after you hit an opponent, which was a really big deal because basically in every Smash game up until now, when Ganondorf up B'd you, he was kind of a sitting duck. You can edge guard him, you can wall of paint him with Puff, you can just hit him like once and he couldn't recover again. It was a kind of a huge, horrible mechanic in his own recovery. Like, a character's recovery is supposed to be, his safe way, his guarantee of getting back to stage to resetting neutral, but his recovery had a flaw in and of itself. You combine that with how bad he is on stage, his very slow speed, his lack of options, and it just makes him just this awful character. So the buff in 11.0 was pretty nice, but it doesn't matter because he still sucks, and that's all there is to say about Ganondorf. Just don't get up smash, don't get Doriad, and watch out for his Nair. Still a really good option, and dash attack is pretty good for killing, but everything else, I mean, he's combo food. Your character should be Ganondorf. Always. The next character we have in bottom tier, and there's only 2 characters actually in bottom tier. So these 2 characters are far worse than any of the other characters in the game, and that's what the difference between a bottom tier and low tier character is. So the only character I have in bottom tier is actually Little Mac. Little Mac got a slight buff in patch 11.0. They basically said that with Little Mac's up smash, that you can now have increased the amount of time that the hit detection lasts. So the up smash is slightly better. It should hit a little more often. That's one of his main kill moves. So it still is a slight buff for Little Mac, which is pretty, important, all things considered. But when you consider the rest of the character, you consider that horrible recovery, you consider the fact that he's literally only good on the ground, that his aerials are complete garbage apart from a few of the more advanced, Nair on platform setups that some of the higher level Little Macs like Peanut and MTM have been doing. This character is simply trash. Like, in a game like Smash Bros, in a platform fighter, until you fix that recovery, he's gonna be bottom tier. Like, he's scary on the ground, I will say. And I've lost to Little Max tournaments too, even as Puff. Like, you can still get upset online and anything can happen. But for any player of relative knowledge and relative know-how on how to edge guard Little Mac in their matchups, he's just, you throw him off the stage, you hit him once, and that's basically GG's. So Little Mac with better recovery though, I'm talking like a 3-tier increase at least. It would be one of the scariest characters of all time. So Little Mac, you can stay in bottom tier. I'm not complaining. To no surprise, he's still trash. Next up, we have our low tier characters. Now, the low tier characters is, much more of a bigger tier than the bottom tiers. Low tier, basically, overall, these are very poor characters. They have a bit more strategy behind them and some passable matchups for the tier list. You can win a regional with them. Like, it's possible to win a regional with them, but I really don't think they will ever win a major. That being said, all these characters have tricks and some X factors that people need to be aware of. So let's get into it. Our first character on this list is actually Mii Gunner. Now, Mii Gunner actually received a buff in both patch 10.0 and 11.0. The Gunner patch in 11.0 was an increased attack range for a side smash, and of course matched the vulnerability of other fighters when falling into place, which is more of a general gameplay change. But an increased forward smash is always good, considering it is a very powerful move. It does have a lot of range with the stage, and you know, for being a character that needs to camp and have that sort of distance between themselves and the other characters, to me it was a pretty important addition, and I'm happy that they added to it. And of course in 10.0 they fixed the launch angle of Mii Gunner's up throw, and they increased the attack range for the shot fired after the up throw. Are these changes enough to get Mii Gunner out of low tier? No. The character could trend into the lower mid tier into the future, but I don't think it's not quite enough to keep him out of there yet. They still need something more to, you know, sort of push them into the category with the best of the Mii fighters, which, spoiler alert, is well, I'm not going to spoil who the best of the Mii fighters is, but you'll probably know after I say who the next character is. So Gunner has had some success here and there online. More precision offline could keep them down. Hello. Following up with the Mii Gunner is actually Mii Swordfighter, to no one's surprise. Nothing has changed for Mii Swordfighter, and no one notable has really made any waves with them either. You know, Mii Swordfighter, apart from having a really good up air and ways to kill early and some cool projectile tricks, suffers from a lot of the same problems that Mii Gunner has. Like, there's a really bad matchup spread, and every other sword fighter in the game is just better. I feel like Mii Swordfighter is the worst sword character in the game, and until they get a significant buff, I don't think this character is really worth using when you can play so many other swordies. And trust me, Sakurai loves swordies. There's like 17 of them in the game or something. Following Mii Swordfighter is Jigglypuff. Yes, Jigglypuff is a low tier character. A low tier character. Alright? Contrary to popular belief. I know I have played more hours of Puff on stream than almost anyone else on Earth. Maybe apart from the other top tier Puff players. And I know I am not the best Puff player in the world at Ultimate. I'm very aware of that. However, I will say this. Dare loops are an amazing thing. They weren't like a buff or patch. They were just something that Puff always had. And the setups you can do with dare loops and with pivot up tilts, with up air rest, the stuff you can do with edge guards, forward throw options, nair out of shield, the ways you can kill characters, there's a lot of them. All right. And I think now that I've played this character for so many hours, I'm finally becoming aware of these much more advanced tactics with Puff. But that being said, I still do feel at every single time that I'm playing a low tier character. I mean, she just dies so early to so many things. She gets rushed down really easily. She has so much trouble in certain matchups. I mean, Puff versus Yoshi, it's just like it's just. It's just not fun. Anyways, Puff is a low tier character. I really wish there's at least one more buff added to her. I really wish they would fix Sing. I really wish they would make Rest stronger. But for now, like I said, this character could win a regional at some point, but never a national. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Puff. But I'm still gonna play her because I love her, and I'm not gonna switch. I'm already in way too deep. I'm in way too deep with Puff. Following Puff, we have Piranha Plant. With Piranha Plant, we actually saw some signs of life from Piranha Plant earlier in the quarantine. Best Nest was actually using Piranha Plant. I think still does as a secondary, and actually having some pretty good results. But as of late, there hasn't been too many results to disprove that. The character needs a decent job being reworked in its approach to gameplay to fit into the meta. Because you know, it's a heavy character. There's a lot of cheese you can do with it. The recovery is tricky. Patui and the spike ball especially can catch you off guard. It comes out really quickly. You can use it under the stage for recovery. You have a lot of strong kill options with the character. Upside of shield is really good. Nair is not bad. Bear kill is kind of early. And on the ground the speed isn't horrible, but I think the character just needs a lot more than that. And that's the way it's built, and you sort of have to just hope that your opponent has no idea what they're doing against Piranha Plant in order to lose to it. But once you understand the ebb and flow of the character and what they're limited to, it's kind of just a pattern that you have to repeat over and over, and overall patience will always be Piranha Plant. So for me, Plant stays in low tier. Following Piranha Plant, we have Ridley. Ridley, you know, he's a big body. And big bodies in Smash games almost always have issues. And the problem is, for being a big body, like I said, he doesn't really have a big body weight. He's literally the same weight as Ike and nowhere near Bowser. And that is very, very concerning. I think Puff can kill Ridley with an up air rest at 55% on almost every stage, which is very, very telling of the character. However, Ridley does have a lot of range on his aerials, a lot of kill potential with forward smash, really good back air, really good just aerial approaches. His nair is huge and gigantic, and you have to respect Ridley for sure at all times. But any character that can rush Ridley down and combo the hell out of him, you're going to see that same struggle. And of course, the up B, while it has a lot of invulnerability, you know, it's kind of slow, has a bit of startup, and he has to sort of hope that no one hits him while he's off the stage. So Ridley, I think, he could use some buffs for sure. Following Ridley, we have Robin. And Robin, kind of in the same exact space as Mii Swordfighter, received no patch changes, had no big placements, and no like huge standout players, I would say. We did see recently in the Smash World Tour, I believe a Robin did qualify from Puerto Rico, but other than that, you know, that was the character has a lot of really interesting pressure they can adapt with arc fire, especially on the ledge and on platforms. Like arc fire into up smash, like that's a devastating combo, or arc fire into forward smash on shield that can break shields. The character can be very campy, can keep its distance, you can charge up you know, all of the specials that Robin has. You can use Levin's sword in a lot of creative ways. And as a Puff player, I mean, I've died very, very early to this character. But in general, I think Robin, the most significant buff he could use is a speed buff. Needs to be a bit faster and needs a bit maybe of a recovery buff. He has, you know, the two up Bs, one that spikes, one that doesn't, and you can sort of drift horizontally pretty well with it. But having an option that would make it a little faster would just give him just a little more of an advantage in the matchups where he really, really struggles. So Robin is a low tier character, but play him correctly, he could be definitely a pain in the neck to deal with. Right after Robin, we have Lucario. Lucario, of course, we saw a lot of good buffs back in 9.0, and the character, you know, to me went from a potential bottom tier to now a solid low tier. But I'm really waiting for someone to go the extra mile with them. Two Lucarios online that I've seen who have been doing that a little bit are Armadillo and Yume. These they're sort of showing how scary Rage and Aura can be used in conjunction together, and they're sort of showing that you know, if you don't kill this character early, like, you're going to die by any of the moves. You know, whether it be a back air, whether it be a good space forward smash, whether it be the force palm side B, which kills at devastatingly low percents. You know, and of course Aura Sphere, with the range and the size that it has, is always a threatening wild card they can throw out whenever they want. The character, of course, with Rage and Aura, his recovery gets better, but of course he suffers from a lot of the things that he always has since the game came out. So the 9.0 buffs were necessary. I think this character, without those buffs, this character would have never done anything at all. Again, just similar to Robin and Ridley, could benefit from a slight speed buff. I think Lucario has enough power with Aura, but I think I would not be surprised if they didn't touch the character for the rest of the game's lifespan. Like 9.0, it was good enough buffs, and he's going to be a low tier character, so you need someone really to put in the time and to be tricky enough and figure out the stuff we don't know yet in order for him to place significantly in the future, especially in offline tournaments. Right after Lucario, we have one of my favorite characters in the entire game, and that is Dr. Mario. I know he's basically, you take Mario and you take away all of his best attributes. Whoever thought taking Mario's best attributes and just creating Dr. Mario clearly knows a lot about balance. But there are some things Doc has which are pretty cool. He has a down B kill off the blast zone, just kills very, very early. Really strong back throw. He's got up B out of shield, which can lead from down tilt into early kills as well. He's a character that's just derived of cheese, but all of his combos and all of his kills are very satisfying. I think anyone who plays Dr. Mario is considered a hero in that sense, but the fact that you know, there's only so many Dr. Marios that I can think off top of my head that have just done amazing things. I think Abel is one of them, and I think that in a regional online tournament one time got second place, I believe. But that was just one instance out of you know, like thousands and thousands of tournaments. So, and an offline, who knows? There might not even be a single dock main to, you know, really push things on the map, apart from maybe a secondary from a pro player like Louis Money, who uses it against certain character, but never solo main dock. I don't think solo main dock has what it takes, and I would really love for him to get buffed because he's such a cool character. He really, really is. I mean, the pills, the down air spikes, the yeet back throw. It's too cool. I like him, and I wish he got buffed, and maybe I'll play him too. Also in low tier, we have Isabelle. You know, you would expect to see more results online from such a spammy, annoying character, but we don't really even see that. You'll catch Isabelle's in bracket, and they'll, you know, do some really cool setups, especially using jab locks, especially proper placement of the Lloyd rocket, proper placement of aerials, making sure they know how to use up smash and forward smash at good times, making sure they can mix up recoveries. You know, this character and fishing rod kills and gimps will always be a thing. If you don't know what you're doing against Isabelle, she's definitely on the low tiers. Like if you've never fought an Isabelle, that her placement on the tier list doesn't matter at all. I think you're gonna get destroyed against a good Isabelle because she has tricks that just will completely surprise you and kill you really, really early and stack up damage. But literally sit down, give yourself like 30 minutes to an hour, just playing against an Isabelle over and over, and you see all the tricks. And unfortunately, she's really easy to kill. She's very lightweight. Her recovery is skippable, and her options for strength and out of shield aren't too great apart from Nair. The turnips seem to do a decent amount of damage and kill, but you know, they don't have the same sort of triple turnip factor that regular villager does. And so Isabelle is just simply worse villager, and she could also benefit from a buff in the next patch, I believe. Finally, to round out our low tier, we have Garfield, the big cat. We have Incineroar. Incineroar is going to be our last character on the low tier list. He is a super fun pick if you want to style out opponents and kill like at 2%. He's not a super fun pick if you want to win. Incineroar has one amazing rep currently online, which I have been stunned to watch, and that's SkyJ. I believe he's from Mexico. SkyJ has really shown sort of the example of, even though there are low tiers in Ultimate, there's bottom tiers, mid tiers, high tiers, even though there is a spread of tiers in this game, SkyJ proves that Ultimate still remains one of the most balanced Smash Bros title that there is. Even though he's a low tier character, even though he suffers from a very predictable recovery that can be given in so many ways, he suffers from being combo food, from having a lot of cooldown on his moves. The character's aerials are still very, very scary. His narrative shield can be used in so many ways, and if you are able to get a side B Alolan Whip off a Blast Zone with Revenge, Revenge is the tool that this character needs to use in order to win any tournament. And if you have a perfect Incineroar player who gets Revenge perfectly every single time and lands every one of his big moves, every forward smash, every up smash, every back air, every Alolan Whip, if you have someone who can able to do that, you can actually do damage to almost any character in this game. So he's a very X Factor character, but the amount of, I'm not going to say luck, but the amount of precision you need to win those trades every single time over the course of a long set, a long tournament, the odds are simply too low. And for that reason, Incineroar remains in low tier. But watch out for SkyJ. He's very, very good. So yeah, guys, that's going to wrap up our bottom and low tier characters. Let me know what you think in the comments of the list so far. Reminder that the characters in these tiers are not ordered, so you can consider them all tied with each other within their tiers. And make sure to keep on checking back on this tier list series because we have a lot more characters to go over on the 11.0.1 patch. Thanks for watching.